just want to introduce myself. My name is Paul Ronco. I've been a firefighter here in Norwood for almost the last 31 years. I'm also the president of the Norwood Firefighters Local 1631. We've got a couple members from the executive board that are here with us tonight.
Mike Chisholm, I've been a firefighter for 14 years. I'm the vice president of Local 1631, also live in District 7.
Stephen Chisholm, I'm the treasurer. I've been here 5 years now, and don't know what district I live in because I just moved back to town, but I'll figure that one out.
Dennis Vaughn, Secretary 1631, will come up with 27, 28 years. You guys in the back here?
Kevin Morrissey, been a firefighter in Norwood for 10 years and also an executive board member.
Tim Raftery, been here 6 years, also on the board.
Andrew Doherty, been here 6 years, also on the board.
And George Burton, been here for 20 years, also District 1.
So I just wanted to start it off and just say thank you for everybody taking time out of their evening to come and listen to our presentation. This is, informational. It's kind of hard for somebody that really doesn't deal with the fire department on a day in, day out basis. So we're going to try to just kind of explain how we operate, how we've been operating for the last 50 years, and also some of the proposed changes that would happen should this override pass. So I think we're going to start off with.
Why don't you get off with a little video, guys?
So, folks, we're going to see a little video here. A couple years ago in December, just before Christmas, around 3 in the afternoon, some of these are key points of significance. 3 in the afternoon, on Melville Ave, the last house in Melville Ave, abutting the train tracks. Melville's off Sabbath, those of you might not be familiar. It's a dead-end street. We were called to a working fire at about 3 in the afternoon. All members were in quarters that day. 14 of us were in quarters. You're going to hear a lot about this. Both ambulances were in quarters. So the working companies had 4 extra guys to work that day. 3 in the afternoon, so the house was empty. It was reported empty. So you watch this video through once. I want you to take it in. It's not very graphic. And then I'm going to walk you through it, because there's a lot going on for a daytime fire, a huge fire, the middle of the day, a couple of weeks, 2 weeks before Christmas, the wind blowing in the December wind. There's a lot going on. And it's a good way to explain to you how things happen when we have all 14 guys on. And so we'll watch it, soak it in, try to see the whole video, and we'll go through it real quick as it opens happens. So this is a helmet camera of one of our guys.
You want a primary?
Down that street on the activity. See those lines on the ground?
Primary, you.
So, a couple things. We'll go through the video again. That guy talking, having the camera, he's running, he's moving quickly from Savin Ave. That's how congested the street got on Savin Ave. And he's coming to where I am, that front engine, which is to the right of the houses on the firehouses on the left. So we'll run through again. I'll talk through. So we're up the street. See the mailman making his rounds, not bothered at all. That doesn't. You see that's a supply line in the middle of the road coming off our engine 5. That's done by, he's hand-jacking that supply line from Savin Ave, all the way up Savin Ave, to my truck, to supply me with water. You see the captain over here, the fire department, another fire is evacuating the adjacent houses. There's a line being charged right there, the driveway.
You want a primary?
See the captain is, the chief is there, the captain's doing his 360. Now Joe is initiating a primary service, getting a ladder, throwing it to a window, because we have the extra bodies. This guy's getting dressed, this guy's coming up. Smoke bellowing out the front, the fire's in the rear, you'll see it here real briefly. See the side of that, and the flames coming up, so the fire's in the back, but the smoke is billowing out the house. So I can't reiterate enough, all companies are in quarters. That guy is, I don't want to say extra, but those are 4 bodies, he's one of 4 bodies we never count on in a fire, because our ambulance service is so busy, and you're going to hear more of that in that next picture. This is looking down the driveway there, that's Lieutenant. This is our group that day. You see a hose in, you saw black smoke before, now you see white smoke, water's getting on the fire. But I want you to look at the building on the left, the house on the left. That's radiant heat, that fire was so intense that, and I think right shortly after that, we brought another line out to calm that down. So we're not using fear tactics, we're just telling you how it is. Here's a firefighter's nightmare. That fire had happened at 3 in the morning. The building would not have been empty. Somebody would not have seen it so quickly. 7, 8, 10, 12, 13 minutes. You'll hear about that later on. That could have been the delay. That would have been more than radiant heat. That would have been the second building on fire. So we're here to tell you about how we operate. There's been why we feel this override is important, why we feel we need more members. Paul and I have been around a long time. And numbers don't lie, and I'll turn it over to the next speaker. But we haven't had a manning increase in 50 years. And you're going to find out here. So we really appreciate you being here. And you're hearing this from a firefighter's perspective, not a chief, not a town manager, not a FinCom member. This is a firefighter's perspective presentation. So that means it's nice and simple too. So thank you very much.
So on this next slide, you'll see it says volume and staffing. So we wanted to bring attention to this because you've seen in a lot of our posts we talk about the last 50 years. So as you can see, since 1975, we had 59 firefighters on duty. To 2025, we've had a 200% increase in call volume. To make it simpler than just a chart up there, think about what Norwood was like in 1975. Businesses, the Norwood Arena was still open. Think of all the things that weren't there. Complexes, how busy the rail line was. And then think about Norwood in 2025. The daily population is more. There's more people coming in and out of town. There's more people riding public transit. There's more going on in Norwood. So when we talk about the manpower and why we feel it's so necessary, it's not something we came to all of a sudden. We're like, you know what? We want firefighters. We're going to want to go after this. 50 years, we've averaged 59.3 firefighters. And you'll see the fluctuation. The 59, the 58, at one year it was 61. And the reason being is someone was retiring, we hired someone early. But overall, for the last 50 years, we have maintained a staffing of 60 firefighters. Right now, today, in the Norwood Fire Department, there are 60 line firefighters assigned to the groups. Each group has 15 members, and it's in 4 groups, groups 1 through 4.
And just to mention, you look at all those numbers throughout the years, from 1975 to 2006, we ran 1 BLS ambulance out of the fire station. In 2006, we started with two ambulances, one a basic ambulance that's going to have EMTs on it, and then the other one was an advanced life support ambulance. So we ran 2 ambulances as of 2006 to present right now. However, we never increased from off of that 60 number.
They pulled those members off the fire truck and put them onto a second ambulance, and then 2 ambulances. So as you see up here, it's our current staffing structure. As I said, each group's assigned 15 firefighters, and the way we run, as Dennis alluded to, so our shift commander, NC2, he's a captain. He's in charge of everyone. He's the big picture guy. He is in charge of daily operations of the groups, things we're doing, training, calls, high acuity calls, etc. Engine 6 is our frontline engine, or our TAC engine. They're the guys that are pulling up first. They're going to pull the hose line off, and they're stretching that hose line into the building to effect fire attack, to put the fire out. On that truck, there's a lieutenant and 3 firefighters. Engine 5, Dennis referred to, that they were hand-jacking the line. All that really means is we were carrying that line. Sometimes we like to drive the truck right up to it because of how congested Melville Ave was. They had to physically pull that line off the back of that truck and then carry it the rest of the way. On Engine 5, there are 2 firefighters. That's it. There's no lieutenant, there's no officer, and there's 2 firefighters. They are the water supply truck. Their job is to go find a hydrant and bring it in. Ladder one's job on the fire ground, I would argue, is probably the most important. They are search and rescue. Their first job, as Joe alluded, when he, in that video you heard him say, do you want a primary? When we refer to that as a primary search. Even when buildings are reported to be empty, there's a study out there, if you look up the FSRI, Fire Safety Rescue Institute study, where a significant amount of time, neighbors would say, no, there's no one in the house, and they later found victims in that building. So no matter what, even if you run up to us and say, there's no one in that house, a primary search still has to be accomplished. And that's arguably one of the most dangerous tasks on the fire ground, because you're going in there, you don't have a hose line. You're going in there with a small water can, or 2.5 gallons of water, and yourself. And your purpose is to get in there quickly, make sure there's no one in there, and if there is someone in there, pull them out. Assigned to that truck is 1 lieutenant and 3 firefighters. Now, I just want to stop there because our daily shift staffing is at a minimum. That means 14. So on that ladder truck, more often than not, in the Norwood Fire Department, there's a lieutenant and 2 firefighters. So that means a lieutenant, the gentleman in the back, or lady in the back, and the guy driving. The gentleman driving, or the person driving, his job is to stay with that truck. When you see in the NFPA 1710 handout, they refer to an aerial device. It's the ladder truck. That driver has to stay with that, because all of a sudden you have a second, third floor building, and someone pops in the window and is screaming, that firefighter has to be there to make sure that ladder gets to the window to get them out. So when we are at minimum, which is more often than not, which is 14 firefighters, we only have 2 guys that can perform those tasks, aside from the driver of the ladder truck. Ambulance 1 and Ambulance 2, it's NA4 and NA5, if any of you listen to the radio. Those are paramedic ambulances. At minimum, they're staffed with 1 EMT and 1 paramedic. More often than not, it's 2 paramedics. And those are the 4 guys we're referring to that we try not to count on with fires. So Briarwood Lane was a recent fire. NA5 had to respond from West Roxbury, and NA4 was responding from Mead of Dedham. And then Margaret Street, which was another Group 2 fire, the ambulance has never made it to the fire scene because they were tied up in medical. So that was 4 firefighters subtracted from the initial response right off the roof. So what we're looking for in this public safety staffing override is our shift staffing would increase from 15 to 18. And what that would do is allow the second engine, engine 5, right, we talked about that hydrant engine, to have a lieutenant and 3 firefighters on it. Now when you look at NFPA 1710, which we'll touch on a little bit, there's a big part of having the proper staffing on these trucks. So we would be going from 15 to 18 on our shift staffing. This is what it would look like. As I said in that last slide, engine 5 would have a lieutenant and 3 firefighters. Engine 6 would have a lieutenant and 3 firefighters. Ladder 1 would have a lieutenant and 4 firefighters. Now you remember what I said, right? With minimum staffing, we dropped to 14. But when we are at full, it's a lieutenant and 3 firefighters, which is not often. Getting this extra firefighter would give us the ability to do those tasks. So, if any of you follow us on Facebook, we've been fairly busy posting. We refer to the tasks that have to be accomplished on a fire ground. So engine 6, their job is fire attack. Their only job is to get in there and put that fire out right off the initial report and initial arrival. Engine 5's job is to get that fire hydrant, drag it into engine 6, and hook up a water supply. Engine 6 carries probably 2 to 3 minutes of heavy water flow out of their hose before the tank is out. So if they don't have a hydrant, you can't stay in the fire. You have to back up. So engine 5's initial job is to get that hydrant and bring it to engine 6. After that, what they'll do is pull a secondary or a backup hose line. They're going to take that hose line and either go to the second floor, the third floor, or right behind engine 6 and help knock down the fire, especially on a fire like Melville Ave. That fire originated on the first floor and extended to all 3 floors. Extended quickly. Ladder 1 would have a lieutenant and 4 firefighters on that, and in doing so, that allows the ladder truck and the ladder company to perform their tasks not sequentially. So instead of saying, okay, I'm going to go do search and rescue, and then, all right, we did that, now let's go ventilate, I can now do them at the same time, currently. I can go in and I can grab my guy and go, hey, we're going to the roof. Firefighter Rock or Firefighter Chisholm, you can go do search and rescue. We're now able to do those jobs simultaneously. And 1710 refers to that in their post. They refer to that in the NFPA standard, that how important it is to accomplish these tasks simultaneously. Fires spread quicker now in modern construction. The time you have to get out of a fire is significantly decreased, so accomplishing those tasks simultaneously is more important than ever. And the ambulances would not change at this time. There'd still be the 2 members on the ambulances.
And also on engine 5, where they're adding a lieutenant and another firefighter, so presently, right now, Engine 5 has 2 firefighters that are manning that truck. When we pull up to a fire, again, the first thing we want to do is make sure we secure our water supply that we can bring to the lead engine so they do not run out of water. That water that is going through those hoses are keeping those members alive. So it's vital that we get that done. If you add 2 more people in the process of dressing that hydrant, you couldn't do it quicker, more efficiently, and you're going to be getting that water sooner to that engine, the front engine, so that they don't run out of water. Just to give you a little idea of how we've been running, we had 2 fires down on Lane Drive, one fire on Lane Drive. Engine 6 was tied up, along with the ladder truck and both ambulances. We got called for a house fire with engine 5, 2 people showing up. About 4 or 5 months ago, we also had another incident on Lane Drive where, same thing, it was the captain that was available and engine 5 showing up to a house fire. Luckily, it was just an oil burn that had backfired, but that's kind of what we're dealing with now. So we can't stress enough how important staffing really is. If we had a full complement on that engine 5, our chance of getting stuff done, putting that fire out, it just exponentially makes our job a lot easier.
So we threw this up there just for a little bit of help with what you have in front of you. This is the same as on your sheet for an NFPA 1710. It's a national standard. It's guidelines for fire departments for initial responses to structure fires. Now, with the override, if the override were to pass, we would be meeting the bare minimum of a single-family dwelling. Norwood is made up of a lot of single-family homes. Norwood is also made up of all of the other things up there with the exception of high-rises. And to be fair, there are a few buildings, there are multiple buildings in town that are 4 stories high, but the hotel next to the Chateau is actually 6 stories high, so it's short of being a high-rise by about 10 to 12 feet. So when you keep that in mind, you notice the firefighters, the minimum amount of firefighters that should be showing up in that initial alarm assignment goes up. So right now we're at 14 at minimum, so if we have people that, we have vacancies on shift. So we're not even meeting the bare minimum for single-family homes. So with that, with NFPA 1710, we just wanted to kind of explain how unique Norwood is. I know we all love the town. We all understand that the town has a lot of things that are unique to it, and you're all out here because you care about the town. We have 5 nursing homes in town, 2 state highways, Route 1 and 95, a municipal airport, which is quite busy, 17 plus car dealerships with room for more, I'm sure, 4 elderly housing complexes, a significant amount of industrial manufacturing buildings. When you consider Carnegie Row, Morgan Drive, Astor Ave, Vanderbilt, University Ave, those are all manufacturing, most of them are manufacturing buildings. What comes along with those is unique fire hazards, unique risks, as well as the possibility for significant injuries and medicals that we have occur there. We have 3 MBTA commuter rail stops. On that, we also have a CSX freight line that goes through fairly often. We have multiple biotech companies operating in town, which come with hazmat and other unique response things. We have the 34E MBTA bus line that runs through town. All of these things that you see up there are all reflected in this NFPA 1710. When we talk about garden-style apartments, Windsor Gardens, Northwest Drive, Rose Court, basically any of the apartment buildings you think of in town. When you talk about your open-air style strip malls, Shaw, Staples, the Mina's Cafe, 1A Supermarket, those are all open-air strip malls. So with NFPA 1710, Norwood has all of those hazards, yet our staffing doesn't even meet a single-family response, which is why we feel now it is so important for us to get this staffing. In 50 years, we have not had an increase. In 50 years, we've had an average of 59.3 firefighters, and we feel as though the hazards of 2025 far exceed 1975 standards, and that's why we're out here kind of getting the information out. This last picture, not this last picture, but this is a fire down on St. Joseph's Ave. It happened on Thanksgiving night. The building was fully occupied. It came in as a reported structure fire, and crews showed up to that. So when we talk about exposures, like Dennis referred to in the first building. South Moore is very dense. The buildings are close together. There's a lot of multifamily units. You have a fire like this, which destroyed the entire complex. Floors 3 and 2 were destroyed. Floor 1 was a total loss due to water damage and smoke damage. And then you take into consideration all the tasks we talked about that have to be accomplished. Now subtract 4 guys from that if the ambulances are out. And when we're not talking about a single family here, we're talking about a multifamily dwelling. People may need to be rescued over a ladder. There may be multiple tasks there that we may not be able to do simultaneously due to the staffing. We just have the video just, again, to keep in mind how chaotic those first few seconds may seem and how many tasks have to get accomplished in those first very integral 3 minutes. So you'll see firefighter O'Malley, he looks up and you'll see the entire 3rd floor, front deck on fire. So with that, 1710 standards, staffing, think about 1975 and think about 2025. Think about the density in this town, think about how much this town has changed. We feel as Local 1631 that staffing was long overdue, but we feel now we're at the point that it's become inevitable.
And also with the 1710 standard, just the minimum, if you read that first section, that's for a single-family home that does not have a basement. And I believe the only homes that we have in Norwood are down in Allendale Parkway that do not have basements. So that's the standard without a basement. And pretty much every single-family home in Norwood has a basement. We also have the aerial ladder too that's added to that. We're really just trying to get to that standard as we are right now, because we are as busy as we've been over the years. And we can't rely on the staffing on the ambulances because they're just been so busy and they're tied up all the time. So that's why we're kind of pushing to get more people in. And I think we got one more video, I think. So this is short. So in the override, the chief had brought up adding training to this override. As of right now, we do all our training on duty. So anytime we're trying to accomplish getting some training done, it's inevitable that somebody's going to get called out, whether it's one of the ambulances or one of the trucks. We're always getting called out while we're trying to train. It's also very difficult to do training, like say when we're out doing ice water rescue training, and we got all the suit on and everything, and all of a sudden you get a call, and you've got to get off the pond or off the boat in the summer, get back onto the truck, strip down, put your gear back on. It's almost impossible to get training done. So what the chief is trying to accomplish is get some 32 hours a year for our members to get trained off duty, so that we can accomplish these training exercises either as a group or individually if we're looking to do things throughout the fire academy and different places throughout the New England and even down south. So they're looking for, it's like 8 hours a quarter they're looking for, so a day every quarter to train. We did a study back in 2011, I believe. It was, I think it was an overtime study that we did, and the average age back in 2011 for a firefighter here in Norwood was 44 and a half years old. Right now, our department is so young. I think we're at like 30, almost 38, 39 years old now, with, I would say, half of the department having less than 10 years on the job. This training is vital for our young firefighters. Even when I'm doing training 31 years in, I'm still learning every time I go to a training. So, I've been fortunate to learn some good things over the years. But for somebody that's just starting their career, it's very difficult to pick up this training if you're getting called out all the time on these runs. So. This is just a video. So this is just gonna kind of show you, I usually show this in the schools to the kids, but I think it just kind of puts everything in perspective, how much things have changed over the last 40 to 50 years. So we'll let the video kind of speak for itself.
Research Institute. I'll let Steve take it away. Welcome. My job is to lead a team of people that study how fire grows and spreads so we can keep you safe. Here at the Delaware County Emergency Services Training Center, we essentially turn this place into a laboratory. We've got several structures around here that we build to simulate where you live. And one of those structures is right here behind me. What I want you to do is I want to take you inside here, and I want you to see how this looks like your home. And then once we get you outside, we're going to go ahead and recreate what would happen if there was a fire in this structure right here. Look pretty normal? Yeah, got some furnishings. You'll notice the difference down here as we walk down. This bedroom door will be closed, and the one at the end of the hall will be open. And what I want you to do is pay attention to comparison of the two of those and think about you and your family trying to survive this fire. All right, we just hit the button, we have ignition.
Oh boy, there she goes. Oh man, that is scary. It's scary, right?
Right.
Look, we have smoke coming out of here already.
What a lot of people don't realize is that the furnishings that are in our homes today are made of synthetic materials. So they burn so much faster than your old natural cotton-filled furnishings used to be. The statistics that we've seen through our research is in about 40 years ago, you had about 17 minutes to get out of your house after the smoke alarm sounded. Now you have less than 3 minutes.
Oh crap, see, this is the things that we were. Whoa. Can you feel that? How can you survive that? Seriously, that is insane.
All right, go ahead, knock it down. All right, as you remember, closed door on the left, open door on the right. And you can see the dramatic difference between the two with the simple closed door.
So I guess we can stop it kind of there. So things have really changed over the years. 17 minutes to get outside. After you hear the smoke alarm, you can sit down, make yourself a sandwich, eat it, and still have a couple minutes to get up. Not anymore. Just the way things are built today, all the synthetics and everything that's in our furnishings, they're burning so much quicker, so much faster, and that's just making our job a million times worse. Over the last 40 to 50 years, again, you would think with the amount of change that's going, into all these furnishings and everything they're building, that we would adapt to that change and add more firefighters. Unfortunately, we've been stuck at the 60 for the last 50 years. So that's kind of our perspective coming from the men and women here at the Norwood Fire Department, Local 1631. I guess we could open up for questions if anybody's got.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So you know how every year before town meeting they do the information night? I go to those every single time. I ask if we have enough firefighters. And I'm told every single time, yeah, we're fine, we have enough. We're staffed. Had they started staffing you guys when I started asking, you guys would have been fully staffed by now. So, personally.
I agree.
That sounds more like a statement, Sharon. That sounds more like a statement than a question.
No, I just, personally, I think it was, I feel like I was given an answer just to pacify a question that was a serious question, because I knew you guys didn't have enough, staffing, and as a person that doesn't work in the fire field, don't have anybody in my family that works in it, but I mean, you guys were short.
Yes.
I would think-
All I got was, we got to let them.
If we can address that too, we're in a unique time here. I say that seriously myself and Paul have been here forever. We've been through several chiefs. Most of us only remember one town manager until Tony Mizuki came on. We're in a unique time in history here in Norwood where a union and a chief and a town manager and a board of selectmen all agree that we're all in the same boat here. We need the staffing. The question is,
For NA1 engine 6, NA1 engine 6, it's going to be 956 Boston Providence Highway, room 1. 20-year-old male party, anaphylactic shock, trouble breathing, is alert conscious at this time.
so the question now is, we gave you a firefighter's perspective. The question now is how to execute that. We don't disagree that there's been a long history here in Norwood as a town meeting member for a long time. It was, don't get into the politics too much. It was cheaper to pay us overtime. Those days are gone. The economics have changed. The call volume here has changed. So I don't know who you asked. We don't want to try to get into the politics too much. But we're in a position here where it seems everybody's on the same sheet of music in the leadership of the town and in the fire department. Then we need this. The question is how to get it done. We're the firefighters. We're asking you to support an override because that seems to be the way to move forward here. So.
And where we're running at 15 firefighters per group, you know, that's not taking into account the short-term injuries, the long-term injuries that we're picking up with all this added run call out volume and everything. You know, we have firefighters that are on that ambulance all the time. You're stuck in a 10 by 10 box with sick people that are coughing and all sorts of things all over you. You know, you're guaranteed you're going to get sick, you know, multiple times throughout the year. And as of right now, we have, if somebody is out, we can go down to 14. So I think, yep, there we go. Doris will get to you, I promise.
Could you speak to, given the fact that Norwood Hospital no longer exists and you were going to Beth Israel Heat?
Yes.
So, out of those 15 people per shift, 4 of them are pretty regularly going to be not available to respond to a fire. Is that a fair statement?
If not more.
Yeah.
Because there are significant medical calls that we go on that we need an extra set of hands. So let's say engine 6 is going to a medical, I think we just had a medical, depending on the severity of it, then if they need an extra set of hands, they're going to pull somebody off that engine. And now that engine is down to 3 instead of 4. Or if they're pulling somebody off the ladder truck, you're going from 3 down to 2.
So my question
But yes, it is.
Do you
It
have
happens
a
all the
sense
time.
of how many hours a week goes through
Sure.
personnel staffing of the ambulance? Or?
The hours, no. We average, with our call, we average about 19 calls per 24. There are days where we do 25, 26, 27. There are some days where we do 17. If you take into account, of like President Rocco said, like the bus incident that happened uptown a few weeks back, they actually took 2 firefighters in that call. So the hours, it's not so much, but if the Jack Carroll report, he refers to concurrent calls or calls that hit at the exact same time. And so right now they're going to an anaphylaxis, which is a serious medical emergency. If they take a firefighter off that, or if right now another serious call drops, that's less people to respond to the next emergency. The hours we don't have, but with the amount of call volume, you can assume that it's a fair amount of time out of those shifts.
So it's really like an hour. If an ambulance goes someplace and has to transport somebody, you need them.
Yes.
And come back.
Yeah, our call volume, our total call time has increased over 26 minutes from when we had Norwood Hospital. Regular run-of-the-mill EMS call from Norwood to BI Needham runs about 48 to 52 minutes.
And to put that in a simple perspective, everybody who works in Norwood Fire has come to work some days and not seen the ambulance guys for 18 hours.
Yeah.
And they weren't at lunch, they weren't at dinner, they might have passed them in the bathroom, and they're gone. It's tough, it's crazy, it's a tough job, and it takes a toll.
You don't want to, hey, I didn't know you were working.
Right.
Yeah, I've been here.
Doris, I know you had your hand up first, but
I did, and of course I get caught up in the other answers.
we'll come back.
We'll circle back.
No, I know, there's one, but it starts with, as a town meeting member, you, knowing you've had to convince for years. But how do we convince the rest of town meeting that this money is worthy and that your family could easily be affected if you guys are not there and forget mutually? With, you know.
Fill these seats.
Yes, yeah. Aside from getting the information out there, Doris, it's, Tony Mazuka, Manager Mazuka said it, it's really gonna be up to, we don't take asking for an override lightly. Many of us live in town, many of us know that it's an ask. You know, people have to vote with their finances in mind. All we can do is simply give you the information like these videos we show you and the information we put up there with the year's difference and kind of remind people that you're gonna have to support it based upon what you think is an acceptable level of service. The NFPA, the videos we've shown you, the fire chief who has 40 years plus service between Norwood and here, we all feel as though the acceptable level is the 18 members that we're asking this override for. I know you're probably not really, I know I didn't answer your question exactly, but the problem is there's no way to tell you how we sell this aside from providing the information.
My thinking is you need to make it scarier. That this isn't scary enough for some of the tightwads in this town. That sounds horrible. Those are your shows. But
Listen,
have
Cheryl,
we
let me interrupt you.
lost houses because you were short?
Let me interrupt you.
Sure. Sorry.
We purposely didn't fearmonger. We purposely didn't fearmonger on our Facebook page. Paul Rookman had dear friends who worked in Fall River. We're not retiring from that fight. We didn't fearmonger. We have friends, we're big union guys. We have friends in Chelmsford. 2 people died because they didn't know this. We could easily fearmonger. We don't want to do it. We grew up in this town. We work in this town. We love this town. We're like, as a lifelong Norwood resident who owns property, as the Chisholms, some other guys at the back, we're praying we don't have to fearmonger. We're praying people will see that the bang for a buck they get for the short money they're going to be asked to pay, the input service, the benefit to morale and the health and welfare of your firefighters, the quicker delivery of service. We could stand here and fearmonger all day. We don't think it's fair.
My concern is they're going to choose the schools over you.
All we can do is provide the information and make our best case. But like Dennis said, the fear mongering is not gonna.
I get it.
It doesn't get us anywhere aside from saying we really need this, and everyone goes, well, okay. You know?
I'd like to think the fear mongers would do this.
I'll take that.
Did you say it was $94 per family, basically?
I don't know if.
I think I read that somewhere.
So Manager Mazuka had done a presentation. He has the financial tables out there. I'm not positive on that exact. I do know. Yeah, Jeff.
That's about.
He said about $94 for the average single-family home price.
That's not a big ask.
Which I think is $750.
$7.50 or something like that.
No, sorry.
Oh, $7.50
The average price of a north, which,
yeah.
$750,000 for the average price of a single-family home.
So I know it's in the presentation. I know there was still some adjustments depending on what was the actual median home. But we do feel as though the ask, the cost, and the service that will be provided closer to having more members on fire trucks is worth it in our opinions. Sir, I know you had your hand up, yeah.
I did. I'm curious, a couple of slides back when you showed the Engine 5, Engine 6, that Engine 5 had a lieutenant, and 3 firemen, Engine 6 had a lieutenant, and Engine 4 firemen.
Yeah. This one right, that one right there?
That would be the...
Yeah, there you go, firefighter. Okay.
That's what we're asking.
So between Engine 5 and Engine 6, okay, Engine 5 and Engine 6, you got 6 firefighters, right?
Engine 5 and Engine 6, you'd have 8. A lieutenant and 3 firefighters in each. Yeah.
No
worries.
So I would assume when Engine 6 and Engine 5 are pulled up to a fire, okay, a house going, something like that, each one of those firefighters and a lieutenant, they specific job they have to do immediately. Each one does whatever they do. They go here, they go there, but they don't go in clusters. One is assigned to this, one is assigned to that, right?
Absolutely. So, like you're referring to on Engine 6 right now, the lieutenant, 3 firefighters. One of those firefighters is married to that truck, that pump panel, right? He has to operate the panel. So now, as a lieutenant, I'd be hopping off with the other 2 firefighters. One of them is gonna grab the hose. The other one's gonna help him stretch that hose out, because it's about 200 feet of hose that you have to straighten out before it gets all bumped up. And then I'm gonna do a quick face-to-face with the captain and just say, hey, we're stretching a line, what do you need us to do? We're gonna go in and do that. Engine 5 is now gonna lay a hydrant, grab the hydrant, lay that in. And it's not as simple as just dropping a line. Now you have to leave a member back there. He's gonna put 2 gates on either side of the hydrant. He has to put the front gate on the front of the hydrant. He now has to connect that. He then has to wait for engine 6 to say they are ready for the water, because it has to be connected. So you're absolutely right. Every single one of those guys is a very specific job. It's not that they're not clustered. It's that they each have their own job in their own company. And that's why that extra lieutenant, which Chief Bailey had alluded to in one of his meetings, is so important, is that when you have, like we had the ladder truck, the engine was tied up and that engine went to a fire by itself, it's a matter of safety having that extra officer, having a commander, someone in charge of the crew there.
So what happens to a specific job when you have a shortage of firefighters and lieutenants? There's a shortage. What gets bypassed initially because they have to go on with the priority is? What gets bypassed? How does the firefighters know that you're down and that has to be covered somehow?
So the shortage is usually decided upon a scenario. Someone's trapped. The number one thing we're going to do is search and rescue. The captain is going to assess that when he does his 360, he walks around the building and sees where there's smoke, where there's fire, is there people trapped. And it's going to be up to the lieutenant to decide, there's people trapped, let's throw a ladder out of this window, forget ventilating and letting all that smoke out. To prevent getting too far into the weeds, there are multiple jobs the ladder company needs to accomplish. And when you start chopping them up and deciding one's more important than the other, you can have severe cascade of effects on those other guys operating that fire. So the job doesn't get done.
And also, with all these synthetics that are in these materials right now, fires double in size every minute that goes by. So it is, very, very important that you get the wet stuff on the hot stuff as soon as possible.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt, I don't think in this room here, there's absolutely no doubt the need is there. I think we all agree with that. Okay.
And a perfect example, engine 6 right now is tied
up.
up.
Is the school's going to wind up getting money that should have gone to things that are already necessary? If it's your family in a fire, there's no question. Give them all the money they need. There's no question they need it. The question is how to fund it.
And I think having this is just a specific public safety override kind of addresses like our issues that we have right now. So I think this is the way to accomplish it. But as I said, the engine 6 right now is tied up on that medical call with that anaphylaxis. If we get a house fire right now and they're tied up, they're going to be delayed. And who knows, they might have to pull one of the members off of that engine to go in town with the ambulance. And now it just cascades from there. It kind of snowballs. So,
well, you guys wind up getting sued. If my house is on fire, the engine is up on fire in somewhere else. And my house is
these things,
burns
that's
up
what
to
these
the
things,
ground. I will sue you guys.
your insurance ratings, the town's insurance ratings, all this stuff is based on the number of firefighters you have, where the fire hydrants are. But I want to, training, I'm looking for training, but I want to capitalize on what Paul just said too. In the initial conversation about this, a lot of people are going to say they want one override and no overrides. I think it was very smart for the town to specify a public safety override. Because you're now getting first-hand knowledge of the deficiencies, what they told you, Cheryl, the deficiencies in our public safety. It's not getting clouded with any other departments. So I think it was a smart move on the town, and we appreciate the town doing that. We appreciate the opportunity. Because it's a specific override, we have the opportunity to speak to our issues, which I think it certainly benefits us. So we appreciate you being there. So.
Which is fun.
I'm very much a senior.
No.
I've known for a long time.
Not you, Gene, not you.
I absolutely don't want to have my taxes go up. But how do I put a price on somebody's life? Because that's what we're talking about. We are talking about somebody's life and property. I just recall I was on your first ALS many years ago, and you needed a lot of this then. So you're right, it's hitting the right time right now for you, I think, because of the Norwood Hospital. When the senior center, you'll remember this, the seniors were up on the top floor. I was there one day when people were trying to bring people down the stairs, because you used to have the fire drills. And I stood there and I said, whose mother or father is going to die in a fire in the Civic Center before you do something about it? The seniors got together, the selectmen got together, the town got together. They moved from there to there. I do believe the town meeting is going to see if you can do this. That's my gut feeling. If they don't, and they haven't already been affected by it, they will be.
And I think that this is a great start. That I love the fact that you're coming, taking time out of your night to come and hear what we're kind of dealing with on a daily basis. We're here every single day of the year, every minute of the day. You're always welcome to the fire station. If you have questions, come on down. We'll answer whatever you have.
And I live in your backyard.
Sure. And
it's constant, constant.
And as union leaders, we take our job very this is very important to us. Not only are we firefighters, but we're also husbands, wives, we've got kids, business owners. At the end of the day, we want to make sure everybody goes home safe to their families. I've got one more shift left. I'm retiring tomorrow. It's been a great run.
Big loss.
But I'm very, very, very lucky that I was able to get through this career in one piece, and I get to spend some time with my son. I think that's kind of the aspect. We've kind of been lost over the last, 6 or 7 years. We've had some rough times with a couple chiefs. Right now, Chief Bailey's been phenomenal. I mean, he's just been a perfect fit for us. He's really calmed down everything on so many different levels, and he sees there's an issue here, there's a deficiency when it comes to staffing. So.
I'm a town meeting member also. One point here that really wasn't covered, that everybody knows about, is firefighter safety. There have enough people on the fire ground to enable the safety of the firemen who are doing the actual work. The NFPA recommends 2+2. If 2 men go in, there should be 2 firefighters outside in case they get in trouble. And it's a rule that everybody said, okay. But when a town like this comes in, everybody is committed. You don't have that extra guys that will be standing on the sidelines to help somebody if something happens. Eventually, you've got mutual aid. A mutual aid company will be assigned the rescue team. They stay out front in case anything happens to the guys inside. You can't have guys freelancing. You got to stay as a group, like Paul said, or Lieutenant Chisholm said. He's going to take his men. They stay together. They will kind of split up if you have the manpower to split. So to have a full engine company and a full ladder company and a second engine company is full there shouldn't be any argument. No argument. The thing that I can't understand is this town, the size of this town, how it functions with one firehouse. I cannot understand that with the size of this town. All the surrounding towns all have 2 firehouses. So the time and distance to get to the fire, to incidents is shorter. These guys do an unbelievable job to go from one side of the town to the other side of the town. And with all the traffic during the day, people just don't understand how rough it is. And my big thing is the safety of the firefighters. People need to know that.
And to your point, Mike, and Gene, we were talking about the elderly complex. At the fire we had over Williamshire, the ladder company was actually rescuing someone over a ladder. Due to the amount of fire that was involved in the end of that building, they weren't able to safely get that person out through the building, so they actually threw a ladder to the backside, and firefighter Maloney rescued the victim over a ladder. So when you talk about the jobs that the ladder company has to perform, that's just about the pinnacle of any firefighter's career, is having to rescue someone and prevent them from succumbing to injuries from a fire.
And another thing, when you talked about that, fire they had on Lake Drive, and just engine 5 was there with 2 firefighters. Now you don't have 2 in and 2 out, and you have 1 actually to that pump panel. So you get 1 firefighter to go in and put a fire out and maybe rescue somebody. That's kind of another important thing why that engine 5 should be staffed.
Mrs. Barnacle?
First of all, thank you for the PowerPoint, you did a very good job. You must have a great 6th grade teacher.
Very much so. That's why I'm so well spoken.
I mean, you can't argue with those numbers that increased exponentially, and the fire department can. But, coming back to money, there's a lot of seniors in town. Is there any way you can put in that this is gonna cost people less than $100 a year for a household? I mean, how do you?
So there's going to be slides, and I know the town plans on having informational sessions as well. The reason that we don't want to stray too far into the financial is, the only reason is it's not that we don't want you to know, is that if questions arise that branch off from them in regards to taxpayers and tax rates, commercial versus residential, we don't want to get too far off the rails of why we feel that staffing is necessary from a firefighter standpoint. I absolutely agree with you. As a taxpayer, I 100% agree with you. I feel as though it's a reasonable number, but I also understand that as a firefighter, I shouldn't be telling you, well, it's only this much. I feel as though it would be that'd be out of my. I shouldn't be the one telling you that. You should be able to make your decision. You should see the number and say, I'm okay with this, or people are going to have to make decisions on their finances, and I'm okay with that. Everyone's going to have to make their own decision. We just don't want to stray too far off the rails. There will be the information out there, and I do agree with you. I feel as though the service that's going to be provided by this override is a reasonable amount, but that is for my own personal family and finance, and I don't want to tell anyone else what would or would not be acceptable for them.
We gave you our plug, what we'd ask you to do. We'd ask you to sell it for us. You know, we're doing this 2 more times. We really appreciate y'all getting it. I think this room should be standing room only. I think the next time we do it should be standing, even if people are against us. We want to hear from everybody, and we want to be able to speak to everybody. So you are our best advocates right now, and we really appreciate you doing this.
You had a question?
So I have one statement. Lifelong resident of Norwood, and I've worked emergency services in multiple roles for the past over 40 years. And I started as a firefighter in Nova Scotia, and I know what it means to be understaffed and not have enough people on the job. Not only is it very, very dangerous, it's very frustrating, especially because our secondary companies were always coming in from out of town. The fact that Norwood hasn't had an increase with staffing since 1975 quite actually horrifies me. This town and its population, not just with residential and all these new apartment buildings, but commercially, the weight of responsibility placed on these guys, I don't think you can imagine. And the fact that we don't have a hospital and our EMS is going nonstop. They have 2 ambulances, they need 4. But we're not gonna get staffing for that. We also need a hospital, which we're not gonna get that. What they're asking for is really only 3 or 4 other guys. And the thing is, what people have to understand in this room, the fire department can be at your house tomorrow. Emergencies aren't planned. God forbid, something could happen. We want to make sure that we have enough staffing, that everything is covered. Medicals, fires, inspections, training, everything needs more people. And what this gentleman said over here, that we need a second station, I could say that for years. Ask Gene Taylor. I mean, I even have the perfect place for it, but we do need a second station.
Let's get the staffing first. Let's get the staffing first.
No, I know.
Well, I couldn't agree more with you. You're absolutely
So, I mean, I know you don't want to get people scared, but they should be concerned at least that we don't have more firefighters than we did in 1975. That's insane. And like I said, seeing it on a professional level, it's very concerning, and because I live in Norwood, I love Norwood, I don't want to see our guys, these firefighters, getting in situations that, I mean, we talked about rescues. Let's not forget what happened in Worcester. That started out as a rescue. when those 6 firefighters perish. This is why we need every truck staffed to maximum capacity. And, I mean, nobody wants to have their taxes raised, but nobody wants to go to the funeral either. And this is what we're looking at.
Well, I think what we have here is the first 6 or 7 registered speakers at town meetings.
Say you have enough town meeting members here.
I initially said nothing about mutual aid. However, how are you being affected by the mess in Westwood with their ladder truck in freaking Medfield?
Yeah, so the issue with Westwood and their Station 1 being, I don't want to call it condemned because they have people working out of it, but it's a horrible situation for the Westwood firefighters, and hopefully they're going to have some closure to that soon. But what has actually happened now, and Chief Bailey worked with the other area chiefs, is there are multiple parts of Westwood, much like the St. Tim's area, that they now, at night, their companies will be responding from Islington, at least until the weather's better, it's a little bit warmer, we can leave the fire truck outside and not have to worry about things going wrong, even if we have a dip, because we're kind of in that fall and spring right now, of March. But we have an engine, we have an agreement with them that if a reported structure fire comes in on Oak Street, that part of Westwood, Winter Street, that we are going to send an engine automatically before it's even confirmed, just in the belief that they may be having a delayed response from Islington, and we might be able to get there a little bit quicker just from where we're situated. So our mutual aid is in effect in the sense that they're not coming to us, but we are now taking a little bit more of our share to help them while they're dealing with the absolute disaster that is their Station 1.
So it's us helping them, but did I just hear you say, we're not getting mutual aid from them while this is going on?
No, we still do. They're absolutely still. Westwood and Walpole take the lion's share of helping us. We are repaying the debt slowly to them.
Massive.
You know I've got a Westwood
Yes.
across the street from me.
Yes.
So yes, I hear it from Sean all the time.
Yeah, so we are still getting our mutual aid, and we're just simply, we're offering a little bit more coverage quicker now, even if there's not a report of a structure fire, or there's not, it's not a confirmed structure.
It's important to tell town meeting too.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think with Westwood, you hear all these rumors, especially with social media, and everybody's got an opinion about everything, and it's, the Westwood firefighters are crying, they want a new station, they need this, they need that, and it's like, no, they were looking for something basic that would, go along with the standards that we're trying to, improve to, and it got shut down at town meeting, and then turn around and look at the situation they're in now, and they're going to pay through the nose, because now they're behind the wall, and it's just going to snowball. And I'm not saying that's going to be the same situation, here in Norwood, as far as like our staffing goes, but, again, we haven't changed in 50 years, so something's got to give. And, my hat's off to the 60 firefighters. I know we keep on saying guys. Jen Gober has been a firefighter for 20 years. We consider her one of the guys, so that's why we use that terminology. But the guys and gals here in Norwood Fire, over the last couple of years, what they've had to deal with is just incredible. Between, losing the hospital, between going through a pandemic, it's just been crazy. And I can't thank, them for everything they've done over the last couple of years. It's just, I'm very lucky to be involved in this process. Dave's got a question.
Off the cuff question. You have 5 senior housing in Norwood?
Yes.
How many of them?
4, I'm sorry, sir.
William Shine, Hatton Street, Hill Street, and Brookview Circle, right? Am I missing
My
one?
house, no. It's only 4 of them. How many of them have elevators that are
Hill Street does not have elevators. Brookview does not have elevators. Hatton Street does, and William Shine does.
Okay, so when there's a fire,
No, and Hatton Street does not, sorry, does not. Just William Shine.
is the only one.
if there's a fire, that means a lot of the seniors have walkers and can't get down. That's a lot more manpower.
Yes.
Trying to get seniors So let's put seniors aside. I have a tendency to speak for them. But even in these high rises, your 2 famous, 3 famous, whatever we have, how many have elevators?
So with the newer constructions, a lot of them are mandated, but they're,
Some do.
when you refer to that, especially, that's when we talk about the aerial device that adds in firefighters. You'll be making rescues off the ladder truck, and you can only put it to one window at a time. If you have multiple people trapped in multiple rooms, you're only going to be able to do one of those windows at a time. Get them all the way down.
All of that must be figured in, how many firemen they feel a department needs. All of that is lives. So we have to keep remembering, we're talking about people's lives.
So-
Not just the firemen. People we're trying to save.
So if you look at the fire in Fall River, at that nursing home, they were so lucky that the first floor windows, they did not have to throw a ladder to. If they had to throw ladders to that first floor, I think there would have been an awful lot more than 9 that passed over that day. They got lucky on that one. And we have 5 nursing homes here in Norwood as well, so we're always pretty busy. So, Cheryl?
Can I follow up on
Sure.
Gene's thing? My boss has like 11-story building in the financial district, and I know when they're testing, when Boston Fire comes in and tests, all those elevators automatically just go to the first floor, and they open up and they're done. You're not going to raise them or anything, you have to come down the stairs. So
And unfortunately, some people, keep pushing the button, they're on the 3rd floor, they keep pushing the button. And the reason we do that, the elevators, we take control of the elevators, so if we need to bring any of our equipment into that, that car, it might take a little bit, but we're controlling that elevator, so we might be waiting,
And the other thing is you don't want, if you have power loss in that building due to a fire, you don't want to be stuck in an elevator shaft. That's why it has that fireman's key on there. Once we get in there and we have our equipment, we will shuttle that elevator if we need to get people out. But absolutely, it's going to drop that first floor so it ensures that if there's power loss, you're not stuck in a shaft with it filling the smoke.
Perfect example.
Less than ideal.
The hospital, when it flooded that day, Group 2 was working that day. We brought down over 120 patients, I believe, that night.
3 or 4 of them were intubated on this.
Yeah, in the middle of COVID, we brought 120 people down from the second, third floors. Yeah, a lot of them were from the ICU too that we bring down. So it's again, hats off there.
Again, the hazards of Norwood are there. They're more than 1975. We feel the staffing of 1975 that we still have is inadequate for that. And again, it's not about fear mongering, it's just about bringing attention to the fact that Norwood's a busy place. It's the town of Norwood, but the daytime population, I believe in the MRI study 2011 had somewhere in the 80,000 range, and it's got to be higher. You start putting people on the highways, Route 1, the airport, the trains, the buses, and just people passing through town, not even stopping in town, but going through town, and that population explodes. So.
When I did my EMT, so I shouldn't be saying this, my EMT time, I did it on the fire department ambulance. I was lucky I had an uncle here, so I felt very safe at the time. And we had a call from the Hill Street. That's why I was asking about elevators. And we had a call from the top floor. And it just amazed me that we had to chairlift the poor woman down. So, I mean, that's all the time, too. So I look at things like that and I think, why don't we have them? Who calls them? That's a totally different topic.
But no, it brings up a good point that I think on social media we always get, the ambulance is going to a medical call, and why is there a ladder truck with them, or why is there an engine with them? Well, it's because we've got cardiac monitors, we've got a drug box, we've got our first in bag. These are oxygen. They can run a couple 100 pounds. So if you have 2 members on the ambulance trying to carry all that stuff, then all of a sudden you got to put somebody in either a stair chair or a stretcher and carry that down as well. That's why manpower really, it does matter, even on like during medical calls.
Any other questions?
You got my vote.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Listen, we really appreciate all you guys being here. It's really, it means a lot to us. It's important.
Very much so.
And if you think we can add in any way, we're probably gonna be doing a couple more informational sessions before, town meeting, and also if it does succeed and goes to a townwide vote, we definitely, any input would be greatly appreciated.
I believe the town meeting days, when I got on my calendar here. They
Thanks,
are,
John.
First week in May.
town meeting is May 11th and May 4th. Special is the 14th, the annual town meeting is the 11th. And then the townwide vote will be a special, I believe, if I understand correctly, is a special vote which will be just for this. So that'll be in
Are
June.
you hanging around for all of this?
I'm coming back.
We haven't got his hourly rate as a consultant yet. Waiting to see his hourly consultant rate. Thank you very much, guys.
What's your whole
Thank
budget?
you. Was that somebody trying to turkey